Good night.
And our guest tonight also is Talon Blackman. How are you doing, hon? Well, again, it's a great pleasure having you on the show tonight. Tonight's topic is renewable energy. So I'm actually going to hand it over to Janice. But this is a topic that I'm very excited about, and it's something that I myself have been very, very interested in for several years now, and just wondering why Trinidad has not ever adopted such a model. But anyway, Janice, how are you going here?
I am very well, thank you very much, and good night to all our viewers. Talon, good night. You are the caretaker of Miaro area, district, and you are also in the renewable energy business, correct?
Yes.
Good. So, first of all, let's find out from Talon why he became a member of the Progressive Empowerment Party.
Wow, question. I don't know if I'm really ready to answer that question, but why I became a member of the Progressive Empowerment Party? I saw a couple of videos with the leader, Philip, and sort of listened to what he was saying, and it kind of fell in line to how I think, because me and Philip share a lot in common. We probably don't know it as yet. We didn't really get time to really clash properly yet. I mean, we clash, but not really clash. And we think alike. And we can't even speak about the things that we would like to see happen in the country here. It's practically dreams I had for Trinidad from a younger age, coming out, as a young adult, seeing other countries, visiting other places, and seeing how they really function, and coming back here and asking myself, why we can't be like them, What's limiting us? Why we can't be like, even if not like them, but maybe better than them? Why is we limit?
Yes.
Only to realize we have people who don't even understand the nature, limitation, running the country. And that is we limit. You see, the people who in charge, they don't have that foresight to see further than the fence. So,
Well, personally, I would say that they do have the foresight, they just choose not to implement it. Because the motive in itself is something completely different than doing betterment for the country. It's about doing betterment for their clique, for themselves, for the people that they are seeking that personal interest for, whether it be the financiers or whomever, if you understand my point. But these guys aren't stupid, man. And I'm 110% sure of it. It's a decision, it's a choice that the political bodies that be thus far in Trinidad and Tobago, they made that conscious choice. Because we have a prime minister with a doctorate in front of his name, for crying out loud. This is an educated man, and he knows better.
his doctorate is in...
Doesn't matter what his doctorate is. He's smart. He's not stupid, and that's the point.
He first person I hear say that.
No, but you see, you have to understand the spin on it, because you see, he can't be stupid. He is smart. They've been getting away with what they've been doing for 55 years, man.
And that might be true, but when I was thinking about foresight, I wasn't really thinking about, like, in terms of their intellect. Yes, I'm not going to deny that.
Right.
But look at, for instance, look at the... You would know when somebody is thinking about futuristic things. Look at what they drive in terms of government official vehicles.
Right.
Look at what they bought for themselves. Those little 350 Mercedes sedans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I pile enough money, I could go and buy one of that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People in their position in other countries don't deal with vehicles like that. They get classy stuff, Maybachs and stuff to roll in. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a different class thinking. So they bring in the country to a state where everybody would be able to earn one of those 350 that they drive in. They wouldn't do that, because that's what they drive in.
Mm-hmm.
If they drive in Maybachs, then they would be able to say, well, you could have a 350, no problem. You understand what I'm saying? For instance, right now nobody thinking about Maybachs and 350s, because we have Tesla, we have the Leaf, we have all these other futuristic vehicles coming onto the market, and being able to get one here is a problem. We have the e-Golf that on the market since 2015 in other countries. They have the e-Jetta from since 2013 or 2015 also, and up to now we can't get one here. Went and had a chat with the dealer, and the dealer saying they can't bring the car here because they don't have
the company that making the car wouldn't facilitate them with the car because we're not a first world country, first off. And then they're saying that we don't have a market for it. It's because the government here doesn't promote that. They promote fuel.
Gotcha. Interesting. That's
So,
interesting.
so
That's an interesting
the
piece of
intellect is
information.
one thing and having a doctorate is one thing, but the
Right.
foresight for your nation is another thing.
Well, this is it. This
It's
is
a
it.
whole other thing. It's
And
another
why
thing.
is it 11 administration passed by? Nobody could have the foresight to bring betterment to the country.
When you look at the document that enlists the different criteria for you to import a vehicle into the country, it has requirements for diesel, for gasoline, nothing for electric. It's like the person who created that document never thought of even considering having an electric car in the country.
But again,
that document was written in 2014. We have electric cars since 2002.
I would-
Toyota had a RAV4 that was pure electric.
I would still throw the spin on it in this sense. Maybe they purposely did not want to address that. Because again, oil and gas, it's big money.
Correct.
There's a lot of hemorrhaging that can take place where the transfers of funds where oil and gas is concerned can happen.
Right.
And that's just the bottom line. For example, a guy who's been supposedly providing, what is it?
Maybe no oil.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right?
What's the bad?
What is that? What is that?
I saw some sort of scandal with that.
You know what I mean? But this is my point. You know, why don't we veer towards renewable energies? For example, within your own skill set. As far as solar energy, for example. I mean, I always been asking myself, why haven't we adopted
The solar energy.
the solar energy? You know what I mean? How is it the construction sector have not been able to fabricate a system just yet where we can replace our roofing from the galvanized or shingles or what have you in that type and fabricate or design as similar as how Tesla is actually doing their homes, you know, with the solar cells bricks that you put on the roof. You know what I mean?
Well,
Right.
that technology is fairly new. The cell shingles is actually very new. It's a new technology. I haven't seen anybody here imported it as yet.
Right.
We still mess around with panels and small windmills. But in terms of these shingles, the actual solar shingles, I haven't seen anybody here mess with it as yet. In terms of production, to produce it here,
I was just coming to get to that now.
yeah. But you just
How
you
hard
mentioned
is it? How hard is it?
It's not difficult if you have the proper equipment to do it. It's not difficult.
And materials.
And materials. It's not
Right.
it is silicon.
Okay.
So we could import the material if we need to, but it'll be a lot cheaper to create it. To create it is not expensive either.
All right.
So
Without crossing you, so how come Barbados,
right.
every second house has a solar panel
Right.
on
That-
their roof?
That is a question that I asked
So-
some time back, right? So listen to this. Trinidad and Tobago, as he said earlier, is in the perfect spot in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
We don't get hit by major hurricanes. So those other islands had a chance to build with solar energy.
Oh.
Because they got ripped apart at some point, maybe a couple of years ago. We never had to rebuild anything. We built from the 40s, and we built those buildings from the 40s and the 30s, the 19th century still standing today. We have to deliberately break them down.
Right.
Because no wind's going to come and tear them down for us. Now, if that happens, then we get the chance to rebuild and incorporate the solar or the green energy
Panels
into
and
it.
Yeah, but
Because I've actually sat in a meeting with the Bureau of Standards a couple of months ago maybe, and they have this document that they created. It's a building code. Yeah, and in the building code they would like for, I think they say up to 90% of the home be powered by 90% of the power that's powering the majors like the water and the major electricity like your lighting and stuff be renewable energy. So it's something that the Bureau of Standards is trying to get incorporated. We have people question whether or not like Tech would be able to, do the refunding if we grid tie systems, and that never materialized as far as I know.
right.
That
Well,
never
the system has to be revamped completely from the ground up, especially if you're incorporating something as a new technology such as this, solar energy, something renewable energy. You must revamp the present day billing system. Number one.
Yeah.
And the infrastructure as in hardware because now it's not just about taking power from the power generation site to the home. Now you have you can have a feedback as far as you having power from the home actually being fed back into the grid, right? You know, and again, for a dynamics such as that, you would have to just rebuild everything from scratch as far as your protocols, as far as again the billing systems. You know, it's from the ground up. Reboot.
Might be.
Reboot.
Yeah,
Not sure. But I'm really not sure how the grid here is set up. That is information that I really personally don't have, like in terms of how the grid is actually set up. If there is actually a computerized network where they could look and see who's sending and who's not sending, who's delivering, who's using. I don't know if that is like that actually, because I know they presently,
right?
I know they still do meter readings, like they still have people work on read meters and stuff. And
well, that's just basically to know the consumption of that home or that building.
But I thought they were able to read it
not sure from someone
within the TNTech.
Right. This is what I'm saying. I'm not sure if or how that system actually functions. That is the grid here.
Right.
So we don't know if that is the reason why they say we can't or we shouldn't grid tie or not. But as far as I know, up to today, they tell us not a grid tie.
No, I want to just touch back to a point that you brought up before. What you were saying is that countries like Barbados and other islands up the chain have experienced some sort of devastation where they had reason to rebuild.
Right.
Now, you're talking about financing a rebuilding process from scratch in a case like that.
Right.
It's going to cost more. All right? And it's something that's basically, well, this is my point, and you're forced into it.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
Now, why is it we can't ensure we have a controlled environment, we're not hit by a storm, can't we create a proper budget, infrastructure, and a system in how we're going to roll this out in upgrading our system that would encompass renewable energy?
Well, I was thinking about it earlier, and you shoot it at Janice a couple of times. Presently, the government has a grant in place where you could apply for a solar system, but there are some requirements too.
I think I was saying something like that. You have to be $6,000 and less, or
I'm not sure how the money thing work with it, but I know they had a requirement where you have to be a certain distance away from the grid also.
Okay.
Right? And I was wondering if we could just lift that. If we could lift that and get every citizen to be able to, not every citizen, but every homeowner to be able to apply for a grant for their homes. And then we give them a grant for a system that would be maybe a 1 kilowatt per se, or maybe a half kilowatt per se. Everybody would be entitled to a half kilowatt. That would be the government given initiative, and not just initiative, but everybody a head start into that direction.
Right.
Because this is exactly what happens. Within my personal business, right? Within doing the solar business, this is exactly what happens. Somebody would call, they want a solar system. I would sell them the system, I would install the system. When they see how great the system works, they want to know what else they could use that's electric, that they could plug into that system, because they realize that system providing the electricity for free.
Right.
A lot of times people, they use their TNTech very minimal. Maybe they leave 2-3 lights on. I don't know. However they choose to do it, that's their business. But then the next thing they ask is, what about an electric car? That is the next question they ask. Because they realize, I could charge my car off this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't have to buy fuel.
But that's the same concept model that Tesla is trying to roll out, because they want to encompass.
Not trying.
They're rolling out. Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. They are, and again, they are charting a course now.
Yeah.
I would keep saying, and I keep going back to it, Trinidad being the third richest economy within the Western Hemisphere, behind Canada and, well, behind the US and Canada. Why is it we are not leaders? Why aren't we doing proper research? Why aren't we funding our tertiary education bodies, such as whether it be UE, UTT, whomever, Roytech? My point is, and create programs and models where we put the youths to create and invent.
Foresight. That is the exact same thing I was saying earlier. Our leaders don't have the foresight. They can't see past the fence. They could only think about leaking $1 million here, leaking 8 here, leaking 12 here. That's all they could think about, and to them, that is a big deal.
Well, again, Trinidad and Tobago, the PP is here, and I would say it again, we are here for change. Real change is no BS. Look, we are trying to compile as many people on the ground as possible who are somewhat savvy or has a specialty skill set within different fields in order to help move our country forward. We are not having any meetings until, did we set our date for our public meeting again for January?
No, just on January for now. The 9th?
The 9th.
The 9th.
That's the second Saturday of January. Okay, so Trinidad and Tobago, the 9th of January. What is it? Okay, so my producer in the back there apparently hitting the function, so giving wrong information in the back there. Well, the 7th, Saturday the 7th. Saturday the 7th, we're actually going to be open back to the public here at 19 Stanmore Avenue. Come on down again, people, and again, have your voices heard, and you know, if you want to scrutinize our policies, I mean, go to our website, check out the Facebook page, and you know, check it out, see what's happening. And you know, I've heard Philip say before, for the opposition or for the government of the day, you know, to steal the idea. I see that they are stealing a couple ideas, you know, and I'm happy because, you know,
that it'll be easier for us to continue when they steal it and
I wish if they could just steal the whole damn book, you know. Steal the book, because I have no desire to be a part of politics, to tell you the honest truth. It's only because we have so-called people that's supposed to be there to do a betterment for us as citizens, and they're not meeting the grade, they're not doing the job, is why I choose to step up to the plate. Well, you know what I mean? And let me tell you, we're all doing that.
I've never been in politics either, and thinking about running for Miaro, being the caretaker for Miaro, it came, and they asked, why wouldn't you? And I think I'll do it, because Miaro might need somebody with the intellect to actually push all these things forward. You know, just go in and get somebody who can be a caretaker is one thing, and who love the district is one thing. But somebody who would really stand up and see that these things get done, see that the roads get done.
You hit the nail on the head there.
See that the electronics do properly.
That is what we're talking about.
See that every home gets a solar system.
Yes.
I think that's,
no, but again,
well, not just homes alone in terms of solar systems, but you also have street lights.
Yeah.
That could be solar powered. I was watching the parliamentary channel, and I say again, you need to start watching that every day.
That's comedy show.
Well, not just comedy, but you get information as to what is going on. And TN Tech was indicating that they are now in the process of changing over from the normal bulbs that to LED, right? And there is no discussion about maybe even changing over to solar street lights to light the areas that there's no electricity lights up at the moment. Now, I mean, I had done some research a couple of years ago where I discovered a company out of China that was providing these lights to an African nation. Because, you know, in Africa, you could walk for miles and not see a light. Right. And they were actually able to, you know, light up a whole area, a park, you know, street, everything. So, and if this African country can do it, why is it that we cannot look at doing something like that? Yes, and not only that, because it's solar light, you don't have to be calling TN Tech ever so often to say, well, I have no street lights.
Yeah, they say we can.
Yes. Yeah. And they take a while before they come and they change the bulbs. Now, it was also interesting to find out that they send out their maintenance crew at night, because the best time to see when a light not working is at night, because
so that's one part of it. That is one part of it. The next thing is the hazard of working on a solar system during the day is the sunlight hitting the panel.
Correct.
And it produces DC current. DC current is a lot more dangerous than AC current.
Right. So. You know, so again, why is it, if these things are being done in countries that don't have the kind of resources that we have in Trinidad, why is nobody thinking about those things?
Well, we have people thinking about it, but we just don't have the power to move forward with it. And this is what we're asking the people for. Mm-hmm. Give us the power to go ahead and move forward and bring Trinidad into the state where it should be.
Right.
You know, I just always try to compare here with Singapore. Singapore is about the size of Tobago, and they've been a first world country since 1998. Mm-hmm. And we still reached to that. We travel and leave here for a couple of years, came back, and it's still nothing going on here.
And we have everything, eh?
Leave and go and come back, go all about.
We have everything.
Go here, come back to
everything.
Brazil, work on the sea, come back, and it's still
Same thing.
We have everything here. We have it. Why we can't be first world? I don't know.
The system is flawed, it's broken, and you know, like our mantra is it's to reboot the republic. We need to start from scratch, you know, dissect, break everything apart, you know, spread it all out on the table and rebuild from there, and prep the country for the 21st century, you know, because again, we need to ensure that the country in itself is self-sustainable. We can feed ourselves, we can power ourselves, you know, we can create an environment where we have proper circulation of monies, finances. This is what, you know, our woes are, because we have to pay bills, you know, whether it be rent, whether it be the same electricity or what have you. The point is that for us to make a robust environment for the population to strive, and you know, anything else excess on top of that is where we would cater to the foreigners, and we create an environment now, again, bringing industry to the country, creating new models where we can have people employed, where we can retrain people for, again, the 21st century. We have to move this country forward, man. We are just too far behind, and again, for our country to have the resources that it has, it's just absurd that we have to be having this type of environment that we call Trinidad and call home. You know, 55 years after us getting this land, you know, we are more fortunate than any other country in the world, because again, we are, like we were saying before, we smack dab in between northern jet stream, southern jet stream. We're not directly onto the hurricane belt. That's how we're safe. We have the best soil. We have tons of natural resources as natural gas. We have the pitch leak. We have oil. I mean, why isn't it Trinidad and Tobago is not self-sufficient? How is it possible that we're not self-sufficient? You know what I mean?
I know. As I said earlier, I had a lot of visions. In my mind, I see a lot of things happening with renewable energy in Trinidad.
Right.
We're not just going to do solar systems per se, but we encourage everybody to get a solar system and start with a solar system as small as in your home, right?
Yeah.
We're still going to have, as a government, I mean, if we end up being government, we're still going to have the supply of the electricity to the country. But in my mind, I don't think we need to run it with those big gas generators that they use. We could we could put on big wind turbines. Right? Because one of those generators they use, not sure how much megawatts, if it is a megawatt each anyway, I'm not even sure how big they are. But one wind turbine, General Electric, has some wind turbines that does 8 megawatts. One unit.
One unit?
One unit, doing 8 megawatts.
Wow.
So but you would have to put it somewhere significantly dormant.
Well, you're looking at the entire East Coast.
Maybe not on the coast itself.
But no, out in the ocean.
Sea.
Correct.
Right. Because we have some platforms that used to be oil rigs and stuff in the sea right now that not really producing.
Right.
And the companies who own them, we don't know what they plan to do with it. Maybe we could use those instead of cutting them down. We could probably use them and install a windmill on each of them. And then
maybe a few windmills.
You can't put a few windmills in one, because one of the windmill blades I'm telling you about
is huge.
Is 180 meters.
Ooh.
One of the blades.
What?
It's 3 blades. So the rotating diameter is 180 meters.
Wow. Right. All right. Okay.
And then it had to be at least 20 or 30 meters off the surface that will be rotating over.
Right.
So it's a big thing. It's a big structure. I'm not even sure if those old rigs might be able to hold that structure, but still, it's an idea. But you could get them probably out in the sea.
Right.
The reason why I say not too close to the land at that size is because of the noise they generate. When the winds pick up, the blade speeds don't really pick up, but you hear it more. And hearing it is one thing, but you don't really hear them, you just really feel them if you're too close to it, because they're so big. Remember, your house is like a little. Your house is like this. Next to a windmill is the size of the chair. So when that starts to spin, so that's why maybe you want to go into the sea with it. Yeah, I was thinking if you could get like maybe 10 of those out into the sea.
How about hydropower?
That's doable also. We could do the ones with the tides, because we have a lot of, like, I would say rough tides. or strong tides, more like on the north and on the east side of the country.
Right.
So we could do those. We could also do wind, solar, hydro. We could do those. We don't really have like a dam system here.
Yeah,
We
well,
could really get
correct.
hydropower. So we would just have to go with the tidal.
Yeah, the
ones,
tidal
right?
hydro.
Yeah. As far as the north coast, we could probably put down some on the north coast, but they can't be 8 megawatt units. They would have to be like 1 kilowatt. I mean, like 1 megawatt or probably 850 kilowatts or something. They can't be 8 megawatts.
So, in all, you do agree Trinidad should start veering towards renewable energies where we can tap into not just solar, wind,
of course,
and hydro.
Yes. That's the way to go. I think personally that's the way to go. And if we really get that to function as I see it functioning in my mind, we wouldn't need to use an ounce of fuel that we get out of the ground. We wouldn't even need a refinery. We would just sell everything that come out of the ground and take that money and keep developing the country.
Right. I like how you say that.
Yeah, we wouldn't need to use any of the fuel, because right now the fuel we use here is come out the ground, they pipe it here, we use some of it, we refine it, and then we sell it to the citizens for them to drive their cars up and down. We get everybody into electric cars, get everybody into solar systems. We push everybody in that direction.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
and it will be a nicer, quieter, less smelly,
cleaner. Correct.
Yeah,
and that's the major plus.
Yeah, it's the major plus. Because that is one of the complaints with Trinidad right now. We're number 5 on the list of a carbon footprint. I don't know whether everybody know what carbon footprint is, but it's the amount of residue you put into the atmosphere.
Yes.
We are a little tiny country and we're number 5 in the world. Also, garbage.
But let me ask a question. If we are number 5,
That's per capita.
Yes, that is according to your population.
yes.
The amount you produce versus the population of the
Right.
country.
Right.
So that emission is coming from where exactly? To
Cars,
cause us to be number 5.
cars mainly. Well, we don't have. I don't know if there's a law in place for people burning stuff. People just light stuff. In Trinidad, nobody they sweep up the yard and they just light it. They don't care. There's nobody. You can't do that in a first world country. No, I mean, I was in the States for 8 years. You can't just light a fire. You have to get a permit from the fire department to light a fire, and that fire have to be well contained, and they have to know what it have in there in the heap that's going to burn. They want to know a list of everything you have there that you want to burn. And if there is something in that list that's going to be damaging to the ozone, you can't light that fire. Not just explosive, but something like plastic or something that's going to lego that poisonous gas into the air. You can't light that fire. They're not going to issue the permit for that.
Right.
Here we don't care. We just heap it up and light it. So when you think about how much fires light for the day in your community, every community together now, all the community, all the districts, all the counties, all the country, how much smoke the country put out?
Yes.
I used to take helicopter rides to go offshore just up to last year. You in a helicopter go up and you would imagine how much fires we watching going while we going offshore. Like, look at fire. Oh, look at the next one. Look at the next one neighbor. Like, yeah, 12 big men on a helicopter counting how much fire. It's ridiculous. And then we wonder, how are we number 5? And we such a small country. We live, sad to say, but we live like we don't care about our own country.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
It's true. I mean, it's a shame to say, but we do. Yeah? We don't care. We have laws in place for certain things. The police will harass you for all kind of stuff. You see with your tint on your car, they will you rip it off. They will you this, they will you that. But somebody would pass with their car smoking like a train, and they wouldn't say nothing. Like that worse than this guy with his tint, man.
Correct.
Like, you know, maybe his wife just get something on his skin with his son. Them don't care about that. But that car would pass smoking on the whole highway, and not one officer would say, let me pull that guy over and find out why his car is doing that. We don't even have an emission control system in the country here. The companies that produce cars in the world, they produce all the nice ones and send them to all the nice countries, and then the ones that have all kind of failures that couldn't pass the emission test, they say, what we going to do with that boy? Send it Trinidad, them go take it. Them like them kind of thing down there. Guy what we get here is a set of hand-me-downs here. I fed up a hand-me-downs. You tell yourself you're going and get a brand new car. When you get a brand new car, you sit down in it, it have 988 something miles on it already. It's because they drive it. Something happened. The owner return it. And they see it as something, don't worry, yeah, they pass that test. So send it to Trinidad. Feel all kind of emissions test in their country. Send it here.
I saw an article, was it an article I think, or was a video on social media, and I think that they were offering, government was offering people in a household that is only making, I think it's $6,000, that they would be entering into a program where the government is going to supply
That's
solar
for the solar
units.
system?
Mhm.
Right, it's a government grant. That
Right.
you fill a form for and you send it in the government. It's funded through TNTEC.
Right.
And they issue the grant. They could come to me, per se, and I would do up the invoice for them, and probably do a site visit, see what they require. If they require a kilowatt of power or whatever, and I do the invoice for them, and they would take it and carry it and apply for it and whatever, and they would issue it, and then a check would come to my company. Right? So then when I get the check now, then I could go and do the installation for the people. That's how they get that. Now that was the same grant I was mentioning earlier. Maybe if we get into power, we can lift the restrictions on something like that, and then set a limit to it, because as it is today, it doesn't have a limit. You could apply for 4 kilowatts of power. You know, you have this, you have that. They send an inspector to your house, and the inspector would say, well, okay, they have a fridge, they have this, they have that, they have 2 deep freeze, 3 this, 3 that, 3 that, 3 that. Then somebody don't really need all that sort of stuff. You understand? But we could supply, as a government, we could supply every citizen a minimum system, like a 1 kilowatt. For everybody would be entitled to a 1 kilowatt.
That's
If
what-
they need more power than that, they could purchase more
The
power.
extra power.
They could purchase the extra panels, the extra power banks. They could purchase whatever they need to purchase. That is just in my head, in my mind. This is how one way that it could be enrolled, and it could be rolled out to the general public.
But there's a lot of particulars that's going to be attached to that, because, you know, again, you're going to want to know how much is going to be coming back into the system, what sort of mechanism you're going to create in order to give the rebates or the checks to the system.
That is right. That's if the grid tied.
Right.
Now we don't know. What we don't know now is if the grid here would allow for grid time. We don't know. We don't know if it's analog generators, they have digital. We don't know.
Okay.
Some of the newer inverters, for instance, because solar systems use inverters, right? They don't even mesh with regular the 120-degree winding generators. They don't mesh with them. And a lot of people have those generators here. Again, it's an old technology that they think is new. And when you put these new inverters on them, the generators damaging the inverters. So you can't tie them together.
Gotcha.
Not only that,
Newer generators, no problem.
Yeah.
Newer generators sync properly, and they work properly, and they work hand in hand with one another. The inverter could shut down the generator and start it when it needs to.
Okay.
And then the power would come hit, and then it would switch and change and go without a problem. The older generators can't do it.
Well, again, if we're able to save all the hemorrhaging that we're experiencing within the economy, I think that we should create a grant of sorts that we can give to the schools to allow the student body within every area, and I think it should start from high school, not just even primary school. Correct. And
how about the solar system?
well, not only just educating them on the know-how of renewable energies, but creating little programs or competitions where you enter these young people into it for them to try to develop new techniques, new ways or systems, or I don't know, you know what I mean? Let's tap into the minds of our young people,
Right, see what they come up
and
with.
see what they come up with. This is my point, because
That is
again,
that is how new technology comes forward.
this is it.
That is
This
how it
is
actually
it.
comes forward.
And we are
But
55 years
we
behind.
don't get a chance to do that here. The other day, this guy came on a show, this Nicholas or something like that, his name, came on one of the morning shows, and everybody was so fond of him or whatnot, and he's been asking for his community or his youth group as a group to have a meeting with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister kept turning him down. So it's like they don't want to hear young people's voices, they don't want to hear what we have to say, they don't want to hear our ideas, they think they're okay, they're in their big seat and they could do whatever they need to do,
And they know
know
best.
But the reality is they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't. They might have their degrees and they might have their whatever, and I'm not knocking anybody's degree, but they simply don't know about the technology that the world has to offer today.
I go knock the degree. I go knock the degree because you can't say you have a degree and I can strip it. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You understand?
I mean, it is what it is. This is what we live with and been faced with every day.
Well, yeah, for 55 years we've been faced with it, and you know, we're just saying it's okay, but it's not. It's not okay because...
And this is part of the reason why I decided to join the PEP.
Wonderful.
Because here, I've been given a chance to put my foot down.
Correct.
And say, look, listen, I fed up with what's going on here. It's about time we get some change here. Here needs to be changed.
Trinidad and Tobago, you hear that?
Here needs to be changed.
You hear that? This is a regular citizen. And, you know, the motive of the PEP is to give the power back to the people. That's what it is. It's to the people. The people are the ones who has to dictate the pace. The people are the ones need to be the ones to approve a way forward. You know, and again, 19 Stanmore Avenue, come down the 7th, producer. The 7th of January, yes. We're sure of this. So I just got confirmed. Not the 1st, the 7th. Trinidad and Tobago, it's the 7th of January. We're going to be back open to the public. So I emphasize, come on down, young and old, come on down. Have your voices heard. The platform has been created for you. For your voices to be heard, and like I said before in many shows past, that you know we are documenting everything and everyone, what is said, the ideas, what they think may work, what may not. We just want to have a clear outlook as to where the country wants us to take it. It's that simple, and you know. Census so far is everyone wants a better country. We want a first world country. We want one that has transparency, accountability. You know, we want one that is much safer.
Safer everything.
Correct.
Safer everything.
Where there are also opportunities, not just for the elderly or the middle aged, for especially the young people. Because they're the ones that's going to be taking this country where it needs to go. It's the young people. And that's where our emphasis needs to lie.
In terms of technology and like in terms of the cars we spoke of earlier, a lot of people have doubts about like the electric cars, right? Per se. They say, well, how far you could go with an electric car? Most electric cars today could go 200 miles comfortable on one charge. But they don't really pay attention to how far a tank of fuel will take them in their car.
Right.
They don't pay attention to that, right? A tank of fuel, on average, would take you probably 300 miles. Maybe. Some cars less, some cars maybe a little bit more, right? But we have a network of gas stations, or fuel stations as they say, right? Not necessarily gas, but both fuel, diesel, and we have a network of them. Now it's the same way it will be with electric. A lot of people don't know that an electric car can be charged on a simple 110 plug. So you go by your boy and your line and you plug extension and plug in and chill out.
You see? You don't have to look for a gas station.
No, you
just pull up, boy, let me drink some beer, some boy. Hey, you better come and plug me, have an extension.
You plug in, you chill out.
Put an extension in for me, come on.
And to be honest, you don't really need to.
Right.
Because from one end of Trinidad to the other end is probably just about 60 miles.
Right. So you could make a round about 4 or 5 times before you even come close.
You even need a charger.
Right.
Well, not only that, but I think too, I think in the UK, they have
charge stations.
That's right. So you can have.
You remember, but that will take time to get implemented.
Of course.
That will have to replace the fuel stations. We know that. But in the meantime, everybody have a 110 outlet in their house. Everybody guaranteed.
Now let me ask a question. How long will it take to
recharge? From
right.
empty, on average, a car might take about 8 hours. Like the new Nissan Leaf, it will take about 8 hours to recharge, right? But when you reach from one destination to the next, from let's say from Miara to Chaguaramas, which is about 60-75 miles tops, right? When you reach to Chaguaramas, you wouldn't need a full charge. So you might need maybe an hour charge or whatever. You might lime longer than an hour in Chaguaramas. Right? That is one aspect of it. The next aspect of the electric car is it's 400 times safer than any one of these fuel-driven cars. Even the hybrids that cut on and off in traffic. The new Nissan Leaf, the 2018 Nissan Leaf actually, I don't think it's on the road as yet, that one would actually be able to drive itself, just like the Tesla Model S. Yeah, driving itself means you're punching or you load it to your Google Maps and you tell it you're going by Felicia and you rock back, you could go in the back seat and blab.
So there's sensors that would sense the
Everything.
road and
Speed, it will sense traffic and all around.
Right.
And they recognize fuel cars as hazard cars. Yeah, because a computer chip don't have to blow in that car for it to hit you. The driver could be drunk, you could be blagging in the car and make a mistake and hit you. So they identify those cars as hazard cars. So you see those cars light up in red on the screen like. They're not
so
safe.
if they were to see another car as itself, it would see it as a green.
Yes. So everybody green and they're going down the line, everybody green. And they move a lot quicker too. You see, you might be a very good driver. I might not be such a good driver. So when I reach a roundabout, I might hesitate. And you behind me.
Right.
Now, with the electric cars, they're all good drivers. So when they reach the roundabout, they know it's a roundabout.
Right.
And they're going to anticipate and talk to one another. Hey, I come in here.
Yeah.
It happens so quick.
Yeah.
It's amazing. When you see these cars operate, why can't we have these things here?
And again, in my mind, I think that we don't even have reason to
It's a lot safer.
we don't have reason to bring it into the country. I strongly believe we have the resources to do the research and possibly even invent and create our own designs.
Maybe.
Yeah, well,
But
remember,
the
it was
possibility-
also a loss of income as well.
Was that?
Not really. Not
Yeah.
really. Because what we pay for the fuel here in the country, we get a lot more for it if we sell it. It's subsidized us.
Right.
So it's not really a loss to the economy. I don't see it as a loss to the economy. All that money could be put into something else. Because it would be more.
Yeah.
Remember what we pay for fuel?
Right.
It's not what
Because if we were to go all green, it means to say that the entire bulk of the oil could be sold without having to subsidize anything locally for the population.
Because we would need it.
Right. Okay.
What I was going to mention now is the safety aspect of it. The other night I saw an accident where there was two youths. They were driving a car. Apparently they rented the car and they were speeding, and they hit another car head on. The car that they hit, the husband was driving. He was seat belted. The child, it had a little child in the back in a strap seat. The child was seat belted. The mother was next to the child. She wasn't seat belted, and she died.
Wow.
And I said to myself when I saw that accident, like, whoa. I mean, she wasn't interested, but it's one thing. But if it was an electric car, the car wouldn't move if she wouldn't put on the seatbelt. First off.
Yeah.
First thing, if everybody don't click that belt, it's not going to move. First off. Secondly, them fellas who driving an electric car, they would not have been able to be going the speed they were going, even if you put it in the manual mode. Like if you take it off an auto and you put it in manual and you decide to drive it, you can't get it up to that speed.
That is the Leaf?
The Leaf.
Okay. So that's a safety feature that Nissan created for that.
I think all the cars are like that. You have to take them to a track for them to release all their power. Yeah.
So once on the normal,
GTR.
okay, because I know Tesla.
Tesla cars is like that also.
Well, he has a new one that he just recently released.
The P100D.
I think
that just put it in ludicrous mode and drive.
And it's racing up and down the place these days. It's beating everything on the road.
Yeah, I don't know how we do, but they're gonna restrict that. Just
so he probably took off the limiter.
Yeah, they
on
took
that
off the limitation.
system. Okay.
Software, all of the software.
All right.
So they load a new software for it. I mean, it's so interesting. That new technology is so interesting. I saw an electric car smoke a Lamborghini, the new Bugatti Veyron. All these big cars, big name engines, V10 and W10s, and all these nice fancy engines, the electric cars smoke them, put them to the dust. And why we don't have it here? Why we don't even want it here? I ain't even see. Our government is not even trying to implement stuff like that.
Well,
not even.
Why? What was the incentive for them?
Exactly.
There's no personal incentive for them. So in my mind, I think that they are in office for themselves. They're not there for us.
For us.
And again, that's where the dynamics need to change here locally. We need to have people. And look, Trinidad and Tobago, if there was another political group that forged a way forward for Trinidad and Tobago to have true betterment, not just talk of it, real betterment. Look, I wouldn't even be here You know, and that's the bottom line. If the PNM or the UNC had adopted that role, and like Philip always says, you know, steal the bloody idea, steal it for crying out loud.
And run with
Guess
it.
what? I would have no reason to be here, and I wish if they could bloody well steal the entire book. I would say that, and I would say it again.
Yeah, I get more time for myself to do all I want to do. I gotta go and campaign, no way. I gotta go. Hey, talking about campaigning, Miaro, I'm coming.
Yes, let them know.
So let's get ready to see this face in another community a lot more regular than I let us see it now. You're all over the country now running from solar system to solar system, and it's not that I neglect all here, but I had to do what I had to do to survive in this country we have here.
Yeah, the environment that we're in.
Yeah, so, but Miaro, I'm coming.
Yes.
I'm gonna take good care of Miaro. Guarantee that.
Mayaro, look out, look out.
Right.
Talon, Blackman, he's coming to spread the word, to give us hope, because again, we are looking for committed people. You know, the only thing you're going to get from this is a better country. There's no millionaires that's going to end up, there's no one that's going to end up being millionaires. There's no one that's going to have an edge over anyone. We want everything and every citizen to have an even playing field, to have the even opportunities, the same opportunities as the next man. You know, healthcare, security, you know, just a better country. That is what we're striving for. And again, we can't have a better country without the support of you, the citizen. You know, and I can't emphasize it enough. You know, we have phenomenal proposals and mechanisms to move the country forward. And again, I would say 19 Stanmore Avenue, the 7th of January, the 6th of January. Come on, no way. Trinidad, do excuse me, I'm looking at my producer in the background, right? And I'm about to get a paddle. It's either that or a go whip. Because somebody need a spanking. And you're telling me now is the 6th. Can somebody pull up a calendar just to be sure? You have a calendar on your phone?
Yeah, but I don't have my phone on.
No. You sure it's the 6th?
Yeah.
You have me telling Trinidad and Tobago all kinds of dates. You know, are we going to be open like from the 1st every day from noon? I think that'll be easier to say. But anyway, Trinidad, we're veering off the topic. You know, it's just my producer. Oh my gosh. That raise you were going to get, I don't know. But anyway, we're sure it's the 6th. The 6th is a Saturday.
Yeah.
Trinidad and Tobago, could you just check? Roxanne, the 6th. Is it the 6th? Let me know for sure. If the 6th is a Saturday, okay, Trinidad and Tobago, our meetings being open for the public will be the 6th. Well, at least so they say. I haven't got my hands on a calendar yet, but don't worry. We'll sort it out soon enough. But again, you know, the mission that we're looking at is really bringing Trinidad up to speed with the 21st century. And we do think that incorporating renewable energies within the grid, within the society, within the country is going to help in a major way. It would help us veer away from fossil fuels. Yes, correct. And, you know, this is what the future is. I mean, why are you going to use a source of energy that is going to be depleted versus one that is almost never ending? I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's going to be depleted is one thing. That's the least of my problems with it. Is the pollution.
The pollution effect. Yeah.
Pollution
and that's the next thing.
Anything else.
Correct.
Pollution is the worst.
Correct, and that's the next thing. You know,
sleep at night. You wake up in the morning, your nostrils black, and you're wondering how. You know, when you wash your face and thing, your nostrils black. You're living next to the road and everything passing whoosh, whoosh, right.
And why I say again that you know, as a government, they should create a program of sorts that incorporates the young people to create and come up with new ideas, new technologies. You know,
they should have competition.
Well, this is it.
Because the site that I was looking at was for an organization that have competitions in countries that are poor,
right?
Like East Africa, Nepal, and Asia as well. And they have people actually using the different forms or entities that you can create renewable energy from, right? You can even use it for your plants, your farming. You can use it for clean stoves as well, I think is also another issue that they have. And they also have where it becomes a business for women to help them make some money and become independent and to help with the development of the various communities. So there's so much that can be done as well with these things. Now, one of the things is the wind power, for instance. Now, you were talking about the turbines.
Right.
But I understand that they have smaller turbines.
Yeah, the smaller ones.
Right. For instance, like in the UK. The UK schools, they install the 5 to 10 kilowatts in size.
Right.
And one of the ways, that, in terms of how they do it, is that they either get it from the government or they raise funds and purchase them themselves. Some may even take a loan, and then they whatever in terms of energy bills that they may get and so on, that is put back into the school fund, whatever they saved from the TNTech, for instance. They put that towards the paying off the loan for the wind turbine. So do you think that perhaps that is something that can be looked at? Because, I mean, yes, we're talking about solar and panels, but what about utilizing the wind turbine as well, or the smaller ones for communities?
Right. Well, those are things we looked at. When I say we, I have some friends in Arima who are linked with business-wise and numerous letters to the government, to do solar systems or even wind turbines at some of these schools in some of the districts, and no replies yet. So we had to get them up until
how long that request was put in?
I can't say definitely how long ago they sent in the letters and stuff like that, but I'm absolutely sure there's no return on the letters as yet, because as soon as they get word that yes, okay, we get go ahead to do this, it's me they're gonna contact to come and do these systems.
Right.
So no word on that.
No word.
Right.
So
I'm sure. So whether it's wind or whether it's solar, as far as this government thinking about the schooling, them like it on TNTech grid, they love it there.
Now, question to you. Your personal recommendation as a renewable energy source would primarily be solar. And your reasoning behind that is because it's less mechanical parts.
That is one.
Less maintenance.
Two, less maintenance, no mechanical moving parts, and no noise. No noise. Lie down and sleep. Whether it's daytime or nighttime, no noise.
Yeah.
It's like having a computer on. But the same fans they have in the inverters is the same fans that they have in the computers. So there's no noise. And if you have inverters in your electrical room or in your storage room where your breaker panel is, there is no noise.
Right.
Yeah. Quiet power generation.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very interesting, and I think a lot more people, after listening to you today, are going to start considering the benefits of solar. And in terms of cost, let's say, for instance, here's an example for people. Supposing I want to utilize solar panels for my yard, because it's a large area, and I want to be able to light up my yard. Because usually when bandits go to someone's home, they're not going to just go into a yard that is bright so that everybody can see what they're doing.
Right.
You see? So let's say I wanted to do that. What would be the cost to me? And will I, one moment, and will I be able to get a solar panel that would be similar to the one that I was trying to source out of China? So that, remember, we talked about that, and so that it covers a wider area of the yard, for instance.
Okay. For lighting.
For lighting purposes.
In terms of cost, a lighting system could be very cheap. There's two different ways you could do lighting. You could either get the individual lights that has the solar cells on the back of it, so that way you don't have to connect it to a system.
Right.
So each light would have its own solar behind it, and you could plant 10 of them around your yard, and 10 of them at the cost of $1,000 each might be $10,000. That's a light your perimeter, and it will be bright because they're almost bright like street lights.
Right.
There's another way you could do it. You could mount a system that would have maybe a 200 or 300 watt panel, and you mount that inverter to light. Just for lighting, it will be very cheap. It will still be probably around $10,000, right? But in terms of which one would be better, more reliable, I think it will be the system, because it's with the individual lights. In those lights, there are small batteries, and there's a small panel, and there's small components. When they decide to go bad, you have to get in there and change those little components. Or some people just replace the whole entire light. Right? But it can be a little technical to get in there. When you do a system, it's like plug and go. You run outlets, you plug them. Or you run switches in your wall, you plug them. Now, in terms of, a lot of people ask, in terms of getting off the grid entirely, getting off the grid entirely depends on one's power factor. How much power your home consumes per day. Some people might use 2 kilowatts per day, some people might use 3 kilowatts per day. So what you need is a system that would produce twice that.
So you allow room for expansion if you have to...
No, because you need to recharge your power bank while you're using your
Gotcha.
And then there's another cliche to it too. You need to produce twice that when the sun is down. So that is where it gets expensive. Because if you're just producing twice that, is okay. You could get 4 panels, whatever. But if you need to produce twice that when the sun is down, then you have issues. Well, money issues. It get expensive. But that is how it gets expensive. For instance, I had a customer call me today. Their power consumption was just around 2 kilowatts. Another company gave them a quote for $75,000. These are numbers, right? To produce this 2 kilowatts, right? $75,000. Now, I told him, for $60,000 we could do a system that would be more than sufficient. We could produce more than 12 kilowatts per day. But the reality is he doesn't need that because he really uses only 2 kilowatts, right? So the reality is for $45,000 we could do a system for him that would cover his 2 kilowatts more than comfortably. For $45,000 he'd be producing 5 kilowatts per day.
That's a lot of consumption.
Yeah, but that is numbers. All of that is numbers. Right? But all of that is numbers. So, but solar systems, again, I always recommend them. Wind turbines, on the smaller scale, a lot of people tend to mount them very close to their homes, and the smaller ones don't have the technology in it to twist the blades for it not to spin as fast when the wind picks up. So when the wind picks up, those things they take off like rockets. They make a lot of noise. They become very dangerous. Blades get up to speed.
But with the smaller systems, when it's spinning faster, doesn't it produce more power?
No, it will only produce up to its maximum, and then it will try to stop.
Okay.
And it will try to stop in heavy winds. Is a no-no.
So you have run a risk in a case like that and actually damaging the unit.
Of course.
Okay. All right. Well.
Okay, well, I think tonight was extremely interesting.
Yes, it was, and definitely again, TNT, we're going to have a part 2 to this because there's so much more information that we need to put into the public space where renewable energy is concerned as far as the dynamics towards putting a structure here in Trinidad and Tobago that can work and also that can benefit the population at large. So again, look out for that. That may take place within the next couple weeks or so. We'll see what happens. We're actually going to have a new schedule taking place from January. So you may have an idea as to what the shows are going to be carded for I think either a 2-week to a 4-week period. But again, we'll come back to that in another timing.
All right. So as we close our segment, on behalf of the PEP family, I would like to wish everyone happy holidays. Members to tell their friends and family about our employee screening for the Job Seekers Initiative and regular meetings, which starts back on January 6th in 2018. Usual every Saturday from 12 noon at 19 Stanmore Avenue, Port of Spain. Come and add your voice to the frank and open discussion and express your opinions. Executives of the party will be here at the head office to answer any questions you may have. Don't forget that you can become a volunteer and can serve on any of our committee teams that include National Executive, Constituency Executive, constituency representative, youth arm, women's arm, security team, and events committee. Why volunteer? The Progressive Empowerment Party is different from any other party that has emerged in the past decade, not only in its principles, but also the fact that we are mainly comprised of ordinary citizenry.
Don't bite that tongue now.
I know you just love that. We believe that citizens should have a say in how they are governed. So we invite persons to volunteer to serve within our organization and help advance the vision and mission of the Progressive Empowerment Party. As we close, I will invite Talon and Anthony to give their closing remarks. Anthony.
Well, Trinidad and Tobago, again, thank you so much for tuning in to the Frontline Thursday nights, and it's every Thursday, and every Thursday we're going to have new topics that we're going to be talking about, new ideas, so do tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. Mr. Talon, Blackman, again, I thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's been a great pleasure, and again, you gave us wonderful information, and I look forward for our part 2 towards this. Where again we're going to be giving information towards how we're actually going to fabricate a system here locally in Trinidad and Tobago, and the whole dynamics behind that whole proposal. So look out for that, most definitely. Right. So, Talon.
Well, I just want to say good night to the public, to everybody that's watching. I want to say thanks to the team for having me on the show, on Frontline. It's my first time on the show. I'm excited still. But however, I'm always happy to share information. Solar power is my thing. So, I'm kind of anxious to see the country go green. I really want to see that. That's something I really want to see that happens within my lifetime.
And it will.
So,
yes,
it's my goal. But with your vote, your help, we'll be able to do it.
Most definitely.
So,
may I roll?
Demand coming, eh?
We want to acknowledge all our members and thank all of our viewers. To those of you who are on the roads, please be safe. Good night.
Good night.